Hello, my name is Tanya Harper Thomas, and today I will be discussing and explaining Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development. And I also chose Maria Montessori to kind of do my comparison to. Okay, and I also be explaining the whole theory of cognitive development, who developed it, which is Jean Piaget, why it matters for my teaching and leadership, how I apply in my classroom, specifically pre K, and the limits it has. And like I said previously, I'll be comparing Piaget to Montessori and dig into both of their strengths and criticisms and share reflective classroom examples. So you basically can kind of see those in action. Jean Piaget was a Swiss psychologist that proposed that children move through four qualitative stages of cognitive development as they mature in the sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational stages. So those are four stages. Piaget emphasized that children are active learners who construct knowledge through interaction with their environment, and the key ideas include: one, children build mental schemas and reorganize them through assimilation and accommodation. Two, learning proceeds through stages where thinking processes change in structure, just not quantity. Three, development precedes learning, meaning that children must reach certain development stages to grasp specific concepts. Why this connects to my teaching and leadership approach. Piaget's view of children as active instructors of knowledge aligns with my belief that classrooms should offer rich, developmentally appropriate opportunities for exploration. And as a leader, I use Piaget's ideas to advocate for play based learning and hands-on environments, supporting teachers and observing children to identify readiness for concepts, and to design curriculum that focus on process and conceptual understanding rather than rote tasks. So, I'm going to now share some practical examples that I've used with the Piaget theory. One, sensory motor and early pre-operational supports. I use learning goals that encourage representation and symbolic play. I practice that by providing dramatic play areas with props, by inviting children to use objects symbolically, observing children who substitute one object for another. Example would be like using a block or something to pretend that it's a phone, which is would be evidence of pre-essential thoughts. And a reflective note is when a child insists on a toy car being a phone, I basically would document that note into what we call work sampling and create opportunities to extend the symbolic play. Two, concrete experiences before abstract instruction. The learning goal would be like to build early math concepts with manipulatives. And I will use something like counting bells and sorting trays to present simple problems, context, and let children combine sets physically before introducing numeric symbols. Three, providing disequilibrium for conceptual growth. The learning goal would be to prompt accommodation through surprise or contradiction. And I would, for example, during block play, I would intentionally present a challenge and invite children to experiment with supports of different block configurations. And that experience can create cognitive conflict that would spur them to come up with a solution or a strategy to solve that problem. Four, language and social interaction as vehicles. The learning goal would be to encourage peer discussion to support cognitive construction. And I would basically use small group or sharing circles and explain their thinking about drawing a building and act as a facilitator, not basically like a director. Strengths of Piaget's for early childhood practice. It emphasizes active discovery based learning. It supports play based on curricular widely used in pre K. It provides basically a developmental map that help teachers set realistic expectations and scaffold instruction. And it focuses on process, basically how children think, which leads teachers to value exploration and conceptual understanding. Okay. And next, I will go to Piaget versus Montessori in practice. I'm going to do two examples. I will use example A and example B. Example A, I observed a child who used loose parts to invent a spaceship, and the Piagetian child would construct schemas through symbolic play. A Montessori trained colleague offered the child a sensorial trait that led to explore textures and gradations, and Montessori would be focused on refinement of perception. Both supported learning, but one fostered imaginative narrative and flexible thinking, and the other strengthened perceptual discrimination and concentration. Example B, I'll be introducing a math concept. With Piaget, I provided counting context and problems that require physical manipulation and social negotiation. In Montessori practice, a child worked with the number rods and sandpaper numerals in sequence. The material gave immediate self-evident feedback. In reflection, combining approaches and exploration followed by a targeted Montessori style material helped children consolidate the concepts. Using Piaget and Montessori together mindfully lets me honor children's active construction of knowledge while offering concrete materials and routines that build concentration and precision. Both frameworks offer powerful tools. The reflective teacher integrates them to match individual child's needs and classroom realities. Thank you.